Hey guys, so today what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you guys, this is basically a tutorial introduction slash something to think about. I have the program open called Animestudio. Now, a little bit of background information. I actually came from 2D animation, and then I moved into 3D animation, and then I came back to 2D animation because I got a studio job, kind of an internship. And the guy used everything from Smith Micro. So I came from Maya and Flash and Toon Boom, and I had to learn Poser and animestudio. And I had about a week to do this and get up to snuff with where he was at, and then the production pipeline, and then I had to integrate. So it was very difficult for me. I had to learn a completely new software, and you can make this process much easier by changing your mindset. So the first thing I want to do is I want to talk about the difference between vector and raster. This is a very important concept. So let's take a look at a program called Photoshop. So I'm going to use my Wacom and just draw a quick image. And this is the way that I consider drawing anime. Alright, so if I was going to draw an anime character or whatever, this is how I would go about doing that. Okay, so first thing I would do is I would go to the brush palette, make it black, and then I would actually start drawing the outline, you know. Some people draw like shapes and then they start to, you know, form it out. I actually draw my outline and then I draw my detail. So let's, you know, for instance, let's say I do this. And I don't know, maybe here. And we'll just kind of bring that into there and okay. Maybe there. Okay. And conceptually, you see what we're doing, you know. And then when we go to the eyes, you would draw like lines, you know. Okay. And so on and so forth. If I was doing, let's say, a wrist with a watch on, okay, I would draw the outline of the wrist here. Alright. And I would actually have, like for the watch, I would just draw two lines, like here. And then I would sit there and position this here and maybe have little details or whatever. But that's how you would go about drawing the watch. Now, one problem with this is that if we look at this, notice that the closer we zoom, you start to see what's called pixelation, and this is a problem with raster, okay? Now, the benefit of this is that you can get really finite control. So if I really take my time and I work on the outline and everything, I can get a really nice result, okay? Okay, and so on and so forth. But no matter what, if we zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, you know, that doesn't work. And you notice a lot of times in Family Guy and shows like that, they zoom in and they just use the zoom, and that is, you know, what they use instead of an actual camera. And they have no loss or artification because they're using what's called vector. So let's take a look at vector. Now, if we go into Flash, you can actually draw vector. And this is what I was expecting when I went into animestudio. Now, they do have a freehand tool, but it's probably the worst freehand tool I've ever used. It's very inaccurate, and a lot of times it doesn't even close off, and you can't add color. Now, Flash's freehand tool is very good. It has the option of going straight or smooth, or ink. Now, I'm going to use ink because it's the closest representation to what you're drawing, and you can do something very similar. So, if I go to the layer, and I make a new layer, and I'll say this is the color, this is the line, I can do the same concept. I can say, let's do, you know, kind of a quarter view this time. Alright. And instead of that sort of a look, let's try this one. See kind of the finite lines I'm getting. Okay. And you can sort of see how I'm getting some nice detail, but one thing is if we zoom in, you will notice that Okay. No matter how far we zoom in, there is no artifactation. Okay. So that's because this is done in vector. Now, this is what I was used to, and it's very easy to animate like this. Now, if I wanted to add color to this, what I had to do was I lock this layer, I go under it, I actually go to a physical paintbrush, and then I find, I don't know, let's just say, there, that'll work. And, okay, go to a brush, increase the size to here, and then I would actually paint. So I might, go here. Alright. And then you can use the paintbrush tool. And then you could add shade and say, alright, I'm going to go maybe get really crazy and use this. And you can even put this on a separate layer or whatever. And there you go. Okay, and that would be how you would start to create sort of a cel-shaded anime look. And it's still vector, okay? But that would be how you would do it inside of Flash. And that was what I was expecting in Anime Studio. But the reality is that when you get to Anime Studio, you're better off considering this program as if you were 3D modeling. If you have any experience in 3D modeling, be it Blender, Maya, 3ds Max, so on and so forth, you will be able to use this program much easier. So let's say that I want to create a complex organic shape like an arm. I'm going to show you guys how to create an arm, how to add color to it, how to cel shade it, and then we're going to animate, and I'll give a little tutorial on animation just so you guys can see how you would go about doing something in a production pipeline. Now, different people do things different ways. I like to work on a lot of different layers because it gives me a lot of options. So the way that I would approach this first thing is I would say we're going to make a base arm. Okay, and then we're going to make a new layer, a new vector layer on top of that, and we're going to call this the hand base, actually, just to kind of show the concept. Okay, now we're going to take the base arm and we're going to go to the primitives. Remember, in modeling you go primitives and then you make your shape and then you pull points to create the look. It doesn't work. This is not going to work if I use the freehand tool and I look at this like drawing. It won't work. Even if I try closing it off, it doesn't work. There's way too many points to work with here. It doesn't always close off, and it's not accurate. I mean, I could sit there and take my time and really get this beautiful, profile look, and it'll screw it up. All right. It's like, alright, it's closed off. And I go to the paintbrush, let's make it red. It's not working. Why is it not working? Because Anime Studio doesn't understand, see, it's all different pieces, it doesn't lock off, it's a bad thing. Alright, so this is not how you want to do it. And it took me a while to figure this out. But once you change your mindset to 3D modeling, it makes it so much easier. You can use either circles or cubes. I like to use a lot of cubes and then sort of round it out because that's how I model in 3D. So we'll go ahead and create an arm. Okay. And for creating a basic arm, this is how I like to do it. Okay, I'm using the add point tool here, and you're just going to add geometry, so to speak. Okay. And you see how easily and how quickly we get a pretty basic arm shape. Okay. And we'll take this, hit C, which makes it a little more curved. Actually, I kind of like that there. It's like that. Okay. Reduce that curve there. Alright, and each of these points create the geometry that it's going to bend at. So basically, in effect, what it ends up doing is this kind of a thing. Okay, when we want to bend. Now what that actually ends up doing is, notice that if I wanted to add color, all I have to do is select the entire shape. Because everything is closed off, you don't have any painting to do. There's no paintbrush tool that, you know, is going to let you go in under it and fix stuff. Now, this becomes a little troublesome when you want to correct certain areas. Let's say we want to add a watch to this character. I'd have to add it on a separate, you know, vector layer, or I'd have to put it on, you know, on top of it as a separate shape. But anyway, we'll make this here. And now a cool thing we can do is we can say, alright, effect, go to shaded, turn the blur to 1, go to offset and put that to, let's try 5. See how that works. Alright, see how it's down there? So we'll go back in. Also we can adjust the color, we can be whatever we want. Let's say we wanted to use that crazy red, really dark red thing. Okay, and we'll turn the blur to 0.5. Offset we'll move to 10, and we will, let's see here. Okay, 0.5. Offset we'll move to 15 is fine. Alright, see how that's down there? That works. Okay. So that's kind of a cell shaded thing. If we render it, you see how we're getting sort of an anime cell shaded look there. Now let's say we want to create our own cell shading plane. Anytime I want to add something, I have to go into the select the shape tool and make it work. Make it active before we change something, otherwise it won't apply it. Again, there's a lot of really annoying things about this program. Let's say we want to add our own cell shading. We can do that. We simply go here, turn off auto stroke, go here, and T. Sharp corners, we'll turn that on so that it gives us exactly what we're looking for. And this gives us very finite control over what we're doing. Okay, and you can get as curved or as non-curved as you want. Okay, or so on and so forth, and the same concept. Okay, we can cell shade our own way, and the cool thing about that is we can animate it. So if we did, you know, have, for whatever reason, this thing comes up, we would be able to take the shade, just like we would if we were painting, and make it look like it follows. But, okay, for this instance, I'm going to go ahead and use shaded, and we're going to use 0.5. Shaded would be 0.5. That's fine. 15, and that's good. Okay, there. All right, conceptually. So. Take a look at it, you see the results we get. Okay. Now, next thing we're going to do is go to hand base, and again, I'm not going like mega through this or anything, but let's re-add the auto stroke. Notice it'll have the same shaded effect. We can turn that on or off depending on how we want it. Okay. Hit T, and notice that this is on top. There's a reason why I'm doing this. If I go to base arm now, I can take this, which tells where the layer pivots, and go here. If I do that now, when I hit 3, it pivots like an arm. Okay. If I go to the hand base, it's on its own layer. I can position this here, and it will pivot like a hand. And if you do this, you don't even need bones, but I still like to use them. And when you do this, you know, it just gives you a lot more control when you're animating, because you can use switch layers and visibility, and it's easier to make like the hand shoot out in space or do other cool things when you have the freedom of having it on its own layer. Now here's one method. I can sit here and start to model. This is like the extrude tool inside of Maya. Alright, I'm just gonna literally model this out, and it's kind of blocky here, and you just, you know, add geometry. And then you adjust. And then we could take this here and say, okay, now this is going to be behind here. To act as one of the fingers. We can hit the W tool to make it start to go back in, hit the C tool, and then we'll drag that through here and kind of make it look like it's coming out there. Hit the W tool. And there you go. There's, you know, one concept. Alright, so let's just kind of work with this. And we're positioning this here, moving it above, and we're going to go a little bit above and beyond. And then we're going to take this tool, which is the Hide Lines tool, and remove this. Now remember, we wanted a watch for this character. So let's go ahead and put that on the base. And we'll use this. We'll use a silver. Okay. Let's take the line off. Alright. Alright, so in that case we'll put this under the arm. And we'll remove this one and this one here. This one is selected, hit Control X, Control V. Now it's on top, and that's good. Okay. T. A little bit of experimentation just to kind of see what you're doing, but okay. Alrighty then. And then once again we're here. I'll go ahead and create this here. Control C, Control V, hit S, scale it uniformly, brings it on in, and we'll select that shape and make it darker. Okay. So again, not anything special or specific, but now that's on the base arm, and this hand is under, and it's trapped under there. Okay. So now if we take this, let's take the base hand, and this, and we'll put it under a bone, and we'll call this the arm bone. Grab that, put it inside the bone layer, arm bone layer, take the arm bone layer, stick that here, and we'll hit 1, move that entire bone system over here, move it up here, and then we can rig it. So now inside the bone layer, just like if you were drawing bones, just like you're setting an IK system up, you have a small little bend here, break here, and then you come over to here, and you can have here for forearm joint twists if you want. You don't have to, just for adjustments. And maybe let's put one here, and then here, and then attached to that we'll put one here and here. Okay. Hit Z, and you notice that it's kind of bound. Now in order to fix this, which we really don't even need to fix, I mean, there you go, it's pretty well weighted. Now that's a little off. Alright, so we'll fix that. Notice that's not what we want to have happening. So here's what we do. Go to the hand base, hit B, hit the I key, and we're going to select everything we want to be affected by this. So in this particular case, we want all these. And I hit B, go to I, Boom. So now, as you can see, that's a lot closer. Same thing. Go to hand base, hit B. This is how you bind. This is the equivalent of painting weights inside of Maya. Again, you want to equate this really to, let's see, 3D. When you equate this to Flash, things do not go the way you want them to go. It just doesn't do what you want it to do. It's not happy fun time. Yeah, it's fine. So let's stick this out. Alright, cool. Notice that bends there. It doesn't. I don't want it to bend there though. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go here, hit B, add another bone here. Okay, go here, B, I, and just grab that whole thing. Z. Okay, so now this comes separately. So I can do this, and I can come here. Alright. Notice that this is on top. Let's say I didn't want that on top. Here's what I can do. I grab this, I hit Control X, Control V. Now it's on the bottom. Okay, it can go behind. Alright, so it's pretty decent. And remember that if we didn't, let's see here. Ah, okay. It took away the binding of that, which is not a big deal. There. Oh, okay. I have to redo my weighting because I did that thing there. Hand base. B. I. That was like the whole thing. Hit B. Alright, that should have fixed that issue, and it did. Alright, so now we just have to adjust it. Hit B. I. And you see how it took away everything I did, so you just got to fix it. And then B. I. B. I. If you can't hear me, I'm just hitting B, and then I hit the I key, and you just select, you know, whatever it is you want to. That's fine. Hit B, and that works. Alright. With the exception of that. Canvas. There. Okay. So now that fixed it. Alright, so we're dealing with that. I don't mind that bend. It's not perfect, but it's good enough for what we're doing. Okay, we got kind of a snake thing, like okay. Anyway, what we're actually going to do is we're going to have this arm come up and down and then move forwards. Okay, so we're going to have it from down, it's going to come up, and actually going to push forwards. So that's what we're going to do. Alright, so let's go to frame 1. Hit Z. And we're going to drag this, we're going to start it about right here. Let's go to frame 6. And notice that if I hit Z and I grab this, it acts as an IK. Okay. So we're going to kind of start slow because we want to slow in, slow out. We're going to bend this for a little bit of overlapping motion. Alright. And at about here, we'll come to about here, and we'll have this flip somewhat. So let's take a look at that. Alright, and then we'll release the energy about right here. So we'll come up. This will flip over. Actually, we'll come about there. And we'll overshoot just a little bit, have this overlap. Alright. And then we'll start to come back there, and then we'll release our energy here. Okay, so notice that's pretty good. So let's go ahead and play that. we'll end it here. Let's play that. Okay, it's still a little bit slow, so we're going to retime it a little bit. Let's grab all this stuff here, drag that in. A good portion of animation, as you should know by this point, when dealing with realistic animation, is retiming. So being able to, you know, what I'm kind of doing is guesstimation. I'm not doing anything specific because I don't really know what timing issues I'm having, but this should be better. Okay, that's a lot better. See how it's a little more snappy? But you feel how there's, you know, some energy release here. And that's pretty decent. And you see how we're getting some nice overlapping motion and everything else. We are having a little bit of an issue with weighting. So to fix this, we go back into the hand base, hit B, and let's see. Alright, so that is working. That's not working, obviously. So we'll hit B, go to I, hit B, go to I, there. Okay, that's not too bad. And we should have another bone inside there, so let's go ahead and add one. Let's hit B, and we'll add a bone. We'll say there should be one here, and probably one here. Alright, so let's see here. This is kind of a crappy way to do this, but it'll work. I don't know if we want to mess with that or not. I don't think so. We do want to mess with that. Okay. Right there. Go to B. I. Okay. Go to B, and that should work. That's not perfect, but you know. Alright, so B, hit P, go to there, B, hit P, goes to there, B, hit P, goes to there, and that works. Okay, so now, for my overlapping motion, I should have a little more ability to do that. So it comes up, and then as it comes forwards, we'll go ahead and bend this. Okay, gives me a little more option there. Hit T, maneuver that in, hit Z. Just position that there. And maybe a little past, we'll move that, and we'll hit T, move that down, maybe like right there, and there you go. So we get a little bit of recoil. Alright, so we'll end that there, and let's see what we get. Let's increase the camera size. It's 4, so we have plenty of room. Let's make a group layer, put that there so that we're not seeing bones. And let's take a look at it. So as you can see, animestudio can create animation very quickly because we don't have to sit there and draw frame after frame after frame after frame and then color it frame after frame after frame after frame. You make it and then it colors itself and then you just move what you have. So it gives you the ability to do as much with what you can, as you're able to with this kind of a setup. But as you can see, you have to treat the mindset like you're 3D modeling. That's the key. If you start looking like you're doing 2D, it doesn't work too well. But if you treat it like you're 3D modeling and you really look at it from that perspective, it makes it a lot easier to transition into animestudio. So I hope this video has helped, and if you have any questions, feel free to PM or let me know. Thank you very much, and I hope you guys have a great day.